quickly go to the Situation Room now. And Gary L. Smith and George Addo Jr., they have everything we need to know when it comes to the results. Guys, take us away.
Thank you, guys, from the Joy News studios. And you're still on the election headquarters. Don't forget that we are very interactive with our coverage. We are getting to the point where we are aggregating so much information. And so if you head onto our Twitter and want the latest, just check our pinned tweet. We have all the provisional results in very handy artworks for you to scroll through and understand what's going on. But the multimedia group is all over this election from across the country, and George will tell you about their
My Joy online app. You need to get your My Joy online app. You are able to listen to radio. You're able to get all the updates across sport, whether it's Love FM, whether it's Joy FM, whether it's Adum FM, whether it's Adum TV. You've got the opportunity to do that. So go right now, Google Play Store, look for My Joy online app. You download it and you are safe. It's important to be safe at this point because the fake news is rising and we're here to give you the best. Make sure you're right with us. And of course, we have to get into the social media trends. Gary, straight away onto Twitter. We have some news that is really jumping at us right now, Gary.
As it stands, some new news from John Dumelo from Ayawaso West Wuogon. He's taken to Twitter, which is his preferred mode of communication throughout the campaign period, to let us know that he has officially written to the district electoral officer to request a recount across the constituency due to what he calls several irregularities. And this is the letter. He says, I humbly write to your office seeking for a recount of all ballot boxes across the constituency. This is due to several irregularities that have been identified in some of the polling centers. One of such irregularities was swapping of my figures and that of the NPP candidates' figures at polling centers. Counting on your usual cooperation, signed John Seto Dumelo. So that is the new news coming from the camp of Ayawaso West Wuogon. That's the latest as well. But
it's very important considering the margin, just 2,000 votes. So it's really, really tight. We'll be keeping close tabs on exactly what happens here. So Gary, let's now help you to, kind of have an idea of your favorite members of parliament and ministers of state who have lost their seats. Very, very important.
Speaking of the members of parliament and ministers of state, John Mahama.
John Mahama, let's go to John Mahama right now.
Has set the tone for probably something that's going to be interesting, because he posted about an hour ago on his Facebook and Twitter saying that thank you for voting for change and giving the NDC a working majority in the next parliament. I don't know what indication that is or what they know in the NDC camp, but that is probably a harbinger of what they think is going to happen in the next parliament. Let's zero into what we have in terms of our figures as well at the election headquarters. George, let's take a look at one of the interesting stories. So if you go to our website, myjoyonline.com, our dashboard is obviously populated and filled with election news and material. We have a live stream of the election day coverage on Joy News, so you can see what's going on here. If you go to myjoyonline.com, we have live updates from our very, very hardworking My Joy Online team, aggregating news and opinion from across the country and facts also. The top stories there are that the NPP and the NDC both are claiming victory, and Dumelo loses, Sam George wins big in the Pram Pram area. Also, George, we have some headlines here.
Yeah, we've got Titus Glover kicked out of Parliament. We'll be checking that when we look at the list of your favorite MPs and members of, ministers of state who are out. EC extends timeline to declare presidential results. This came in not long ago. Former Energy Minister retains Prue East constituency seat. And then now we get to what we want to take you to. Election 2020, the incumbent MP or NPP MPs who failed to retain their seats. So this is where we come to your favorite members of Parliament and indeed, ministers of state who have lost out. Let's see if we can go through it. Yes, Gary.
Yeah, one of the big storylines that came out of the 2012 elections, of course, was how well one of the parties did and what they didn't do. In fact, we have heard the NDC say that they came into this election with a strategy of doing as well as they did in the regions where the NPP has as its strongholds. So that was one of their main aims as well. It does seem that the NPP have lost some key seats as well, and that is what the theme of this discussion will be. On myjoyonline.com, we have the news that at least 28 incumbent NPP legislators have lost their parliamentary seats in Monday's elections, and
21 of them are either ministers of state, or deputy ministers. That's interesting. Now, that is aside from the 41 who lost the MPP primaries earlier this year and thus did not contest yesterday's poll. So we can now go through it. Can we just, start with it? Let's go with this one. So we'll be going through this. You will be getting the pictures on the side. So we start with George Oduro Nuedubiase, Deputy Agric Minister. You see that on your screen. George Oduro certainly has lost out. So this is a big one.
So George Oduro, and to another George, not the one here, of course.
No, I haven't lost any of my seat yet. I have my seat here as multimedia. I'm taking that away yet.
George Anda Ewutu Senior, Deputy Communications Minister, obviously losing to the sister of Hannah Tete as well. And so that is another key thing we are noticing and seeing as well.
Okay, my former member of parliament, I should say that, former member of parliament now, Yao Boabeng Asamoah. So those of you in Adenta, Shalibuche, you know that there's a wave of change now. He lost his seat. Yao Boabeng Asamoah, also another one who's lost in the process here. Now, Boniface Abubakar Sadiq, Minister of State, is another big one who has lost out there.
So that is,
where are you going to, Medina?
In the Medina area,
yes.
We'll have to slow down a bit.
Slow down a bit on that one, but
Yeah.
just giving you the indications.
Now, the interesting thing about Boniface Abubakar Siddiq, that's where our colleague Muftar Nabila is reporting
That's
from.
right.
And he reports on Twitter in the last 20 minutes or so that Boniface is taking exception to that result as well in the Medina constituency. He's saying that he's not going to accept, apparently because he says that the gap is too wide.
I can't believe it. You can't believe it, all right? Okay, it happens.
I don't believe it.
Yeah, it will take a while when
For
you
it
lose
to
your
sink
seat.
in.
Yes, for you to sink in one. So you try fighting. The phases of trying to stay in it. There's denial. That's the critical part psychologically. So let's see how they get to sort themselves out. Now, Siaka Stevens, German North Deputy Bono Regional Minister, has also lost seat. You see the picture right now on your screen. As we go through it, Gary, we've got some more you have to go through.
Yes, so Jamine South is Yao Afol. He's the Deputy Aviation Minister as well. And he has also lost his seat. He's an MPP MP. Very interesting. Now, you can see in terms of the picture there for the constituencies that we are mentioning to give you an idea of what they look like if you don't know some of those MPs. Some are more popular than others,
Yes, of course.
And then we have Ali Maiga Hamidu of
Doma West, that's on your screen as well. He's lost his seat, and so he's not going to be part of the next parliament. It's a big one there. As we do the count, remember, we're speaking about 21, 41 of them losing out in the primaries, and 21.
If
so
you remember,
if
you were watching us between midnight and 6 a.m., Winston Amwa and Evans Mensah spent a lot of time on Doma West and Doma East as well, saying that Doma West had gone green and Doma East had gone blue as well. So they were giving us an explanation of why that is so. Next is George Janba for Wenchi, and he's the Minister for Planning. Must be difficult for Georges today because a lot of them are quite...
The last one standing.
The last man standing. What's the meaning of your name again?
George means farmer.
Farmer.
Yeah, so if you couldn't win,
my goodness,
you didn't do
probably didn't take their tools to the farm.
Yeah, maybe just that.
Don't blame your farming implements.
No, I'm not. I won't. So from George Janbafo, we go to Derek Oduro in Koranza North, Deputy Defense Minister. Couldn't defend his seat there.
Well, Derek Oduro, you might remember him. Among the media circles, he has a bit of an infamy because he dealt with our parliamentary correspondent some time ago seriously. He said that essentially the parliamentary correspondents contribute to MPs not being loved by their constituents and that they should not forget that it is their job to bring the people closer to the parliamentarians. I remember the quote he used. Yes, he said that, why do you treat us as if we are from the Congo Basin? And so there's a popular soundbite. I'm sure when all is said and done, we'll play it for you. Just to remind Derek Oduro of that soundbite as well. It's one of the favorite soundbites of our parliamentary correspondent.
And you love that.
Joseph Opoku. Moving on,
we'll go to Charles Kunedu Yadom in Koranza South. And that was another, big one. As we learned from our top political analysts with Winston and Evans Mensah last night. Of course, from Charles Kunedu Yadom, we go to Abena Droa Mensah, Asin North. She's lost a seat as well.
Asin North. That's a very interesting place as well.
Yes, very, very interesting one. Then we go on to Gary.
Barbara Asha AEC,
Cape
Coast North, Deputy Minister for Works and Housing, a very popular figure among that sector as well. She won just recently, and it's interesting that she's lost the seat also. 13, and as you can see them on your screens, we are showing you what they look like.
Next, we go to Francis Kingsley Kujo, Akumfi, Deputy Fisheries Minister. That's another one. He's lost out. We have, I'll go quickly because I can see a big one there. Tema East, we'll get there. Alexander Aban, Gomwa West, Deputy Minister for Communications.
So the two. All right. So we'll go to Alexander Aban shortly.
Yes.
But Francis Kingsley Kujo,
Ekumfi, Deputy Fisheries Minister.
One of the reasons why we are told from the analysis from our guys is that he didn't get in touch with the people. And when it came to the fisheries, they expected that being in the kind of ministry that he was in, he was going to help them, you know.
It didn't quite work out.
It didn't quite work out.
And for them, they did not see the direct relationship.
Exactly.
You know, and how he exactly helped them. Because they expected a lot more, I mean, the fishermen in the area. And that didn't work out. Now, Alexander Aban, I've just spoken about him as well. So Joseph Tete, Apa Manyakrobo, you know, Deputy Eastern Regional Minister, right? So that, Joseph Tete, because I went to Alexander Aban. So now we're on Joseph Tete Aban. Apa Manyakrobo. That is Deputy Eastern Regional Minister. Lost his seat there as well.
He couldn't keep it as well. And so if you look at 14 and 15, Alexander Aban, Deputy Minister of Communications, together with Mr. George Anda, both men at the Ministry of Communications lost their seats as well. Lots of homework to do. So yes, we can see on the screens now. Joseph Tete, who has lost his seat. He is on the left on your screens.
Apa Manyakrobo.
Yes.
Okay, so let's go now to Ebenezer Nate of Ablekuma Central.
That was a big one.
Big one, fiery, and it was fiery as well.
That was a big one.
In coming to this one, huge loss for the MPP, of course. How we got that changing? We'll see that for you. So that's Ebenezer Nate of Ablekuma Central.
Ablekuma Central was for a long time, yes, seen as one of the, not exactly the flashpoints, but one of the areas where there was the propensity to have trouble as well. So it was a fiery contest there.
There's a big one.
Lost to a first timer, also, it must be said.
That's right.
Titus Glover is the big one. Now, it was one of the areas where we had a lot of fake news between the hours of midnight and 6 a.m. There was the news apparently. Remember, the last time he won by only 3 votes.
Yeah.
The news circulating was that he had won by 6 votes. In fact, people were saying that he had moved from being MP3
to MP6
and to MP6 as well. But apparently that was a bit of fake news, and Titus Glover has lost that seat. There he is there in your screens, on your shot, on the left, to the left of your screens as well. That is a big, big loss to the MPP.
It's another big one.
Yes, that's another big one. He's been very, very busy in the past 4 years.
Yeah.
The former Timpani MP right now, Joseph Pemka Dindiok. Joseph Dindiok Pemka, Deputy Attorney General, Long Hill to be one of the sharpest growing political minds in the NPP as well, and he's lost it to be a huge loss to the party. Let's move on to number 19.
Hopefully he can still render his services to our topmost program, Newsfile, and what we call him. We'd love to hear from you always. Adongo Frank Fuseni Isabella, Deputy Upper East Regional Minister. Okay, losing out there. That's another one. And
do we have Frank Fuseni Adongo? We don't have that one.
We don't
Anthony Cabo. Now that's a big name.
That's a big name.
That's a big name.
I was looking. One of the guys you were looking out for when the results are being declared, and this one was unfortunate for him, Laura, and also Deputy Roads Minister. This is a big one and a big loss for the MPP. We go to the next one, shall we?
Yes.
Okay.
We shall.
Michael Jato is there. Karachi East, Deputy Minister for Water Resources and Sanitation. Wow. Do we
Michael Jato, we have that one.
You have the pictures.
So
you have the pictures. All right, good.
What he looks like as well.
So you can see on the screen right now, Michael Jato.
There he is on your shot.
In your shot, there you go.
Michael Jato is the one to your left.
Okay.
He lost to the NDC.
Few more to end this. Paul Asian
Jomoro,
Deputy Minister for Chieftaincy. Okay, then we have Barbara Oting Jesse.
That's her name.
That's
That's her name. We know, Minister for Tourism. Yeah, she's been very active in the past.
Very active.
24 months, particularly because of the year of return and all the activities that have been going on around that event and everything else. Kofi Amwakohene Atebu Amantem Bono East Regional Minister Gabriel Osei for tying. Lejo Kuku is another big one as well,
is a big one.
making
Local
all
boy.
the headlines because Dr. Okoboy has been very, 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 instrumental this year and has had a lot of publicity, lots of airtime because of his work with the COVID pandemic, at least the local action that has been taken.
Of course, you had your little head-to-head. You had your little Champions League, mini or that year Champions League there. And we've got Elizabeth Afolekwe Crow, that's Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture.
That's also been a big one.
Big one, I think.
Yes, so Lejo Kuku on your short right now, we will look at Elizabeth Afolekwe. That was one of the big ones that was being looked at in the Greater Accra region because of the undercurrents in that area. Crow is always a big fighting zone as well.
Always, battleground, you want to call it. If that was big, this is even bigger. Go on to the next name, Gary.
Hajia Alima Mahama for Nalerigu and Gambaga. Nalerigu is one of the new regional capitals that we saw a lot of back and forth, when the new regions were being brought to bear, all the agitation and all the lobbying, around which place should be made the new regional capital.
I'm going to be safe.
Yes, we have Nalerigu, and so you will see Hajia Alima
on your screen right now.
On your screens right now. That's her.
Yeah, she's one. She's
a former MP now, and she'll look to come back strong as well in that area. It's one of the areas where I think the MPP will look at because, they made huge gains in the 5 regions of the north. Yeah. But the gains in the parliamentary side were not concomitant, and so there's a lot of analysis, as you would have heard from our.
You said what? They were nowhere?
Concomitant.
Okay, but you should have actually. I wanted them to have a feel of what happened in the Situation Room. Because right, you went, they were like, Hold it there. Okay, the final one, Gary, just the final one.
Okay.
Upper East Regional Minister Paulina Abayenge. I hope I got that right.
Yes.
She's
not an MP.
But of course lost elections in the Navrogo constituency. So that's important to note. So there we go. Your favorite.
Right. So let's go to Gabriel. The producers tell me that we have Gabriel Osei from Tyne constituency as well. This is what he looked like. Of course, the Tyne constituency is remembered for a lot of activity in the 2 elections ago when we had that place becoming the AKA the Florida of Ghana elections as well. A sleepy town that became the signature and the focus of all eyes.
And you are never sure what you're thinking. You are never sure what you're thinking.
Yeah, as well. So they're a bit like Adentan. You never know. You can never be too sure as well. So that is the theme for this segment of the Situation Room, where we are focusing on the MPP MPs who have lost the battle as well in the battleground of the 2020 parliamentary elections.
Well, we encourage you to continue. We encourage you to continue tweeting at us, and remember to use hashtag election headquarters. We will prove to you once again why we're at the election headquarters. I've told you, forget about all the calls, all the commands. It's one that must come from the election headquarters, and that's why we're here. We have a fantastic looking Situation Room. Everything is right in there. You hear from us shortly, but I love these ones, Gary. Yeah?
Yes, indeed. Somebody is tweeting about us.
Okay.
We're looking good. And Oreku Ampofu, our colleague, says 227 constituencies done. MPP has 51.59%. The NDC has 47.05%. Right. He says almost there. We can tell you right now that at the end of it all, when it's all said and done, all the election references, all the election nerves, all the election hubs, all the election commands, they all gather here at the election headquarters. Gary L. Smith, George Addo here, taking you to the Joy News Studio for the final countdown.